FlosTube, it's Valerie, and today is Tuesday, February 23rd, and it's another snowy day in Pennsylvania. This is my little channel about stitching and other quilty and crafty related things, so welcome. It is supposed to warm up today. We have had so much snow this winter, and I love it. Normally I'm thrilled by it. I love the changing of the seasons. I think it's so pretty. But for some reason, I think because what happened was it melted a bit and then froze, so all the crunchy snow that you could walk on was gone. It was just our driveway was this icy, slippery, long mess. And if you didn't think you were being a hermit with the pandemic already, I mean, you really couldn't go out of our house, so we were completely confined for about a week. And then I could have gone out, but I just didn't want to risk it. I don't like the thought of falling on the ice, so I didn't. We just stayed by the fire. We watched a lot of tennis. The Australian Open was open. Australian Open was being played. And what else? I don't know. I'm sure you all watched The Great British Bake Off, but a spin-off of that show is Nadia Hussein, who was a darling contestant who won one time, and she does a series of cooking shows for the BBC, and she's a very sweet tooth, so it's not good for dieting, but she had one series about a year ago, and this new one that's come out is called Nadia Bakes, so we're having fun watching that. And also All Creatures Great and Small on PBS has been fantastic. I loved that as a child. I remember my grandfather just poring over those books. He just loved those books. And then the TV show came out and we all watched them. And I thought, oh, I'm not going to like this one. But I actually think I like this new version better. I like the actors very much. And they've added they've taken poetic license and put some background info for some of the characters, which makes it, I don't know, it just makes sense to me this time. And of course the scenery is gorgeous and all the heartwarming stories about the animals, and it's very sweet, and it's a good antidote for, worrying about the state of the world. So I highly recommend that. I've been stitching on some things, which I'll show you. And I had some finishes. I am completely disorganized here. I don't know where I've put my stuff, so I'm following notes, but who knows where we'll go. It's like a fun adventure. You never know where you're going with me. The first thing I finished that I'll show you was I'm participating in the Prim Stitch series, Sal, that's hosted by the Fat Quarter Shop. And I finished block number 8, which I believe actually might be my favorite. As you know, I have a thing for sheep. And there was something about this little polka dot sheep that I just loved, and I loved the pattern on the girl's skirt, and I just thought it was a really sweet block. I really loved that one. And I'm liking how they're all looking put together. Oh, shoot, that same old problem of the light behind me. A lot of people said, oh, please go out in the barn and film and show us all your stitchy baskets of goodness, and I fully intend to do that, and I'm going to do that, but I was not venturing out that slippery slope to go to the barn. So honestly, what I'm showing you today is just what I have here that I can drag around and show you, and I will go out to the barn. As I said, the warmer weather's coming, so hopefully that will mean I can get out there and do some organization and do some filming out there. So. And some sewing. I haven't been able to sew because I've told you this before, but that's where I have my sewing machine set up, and it's too cold. I just can't run them when it's that cold. But anyway, here's the whole thing all together. And as I said, I think I'm going to put some fabric around the edges, quilt some fabric around it, and make it like a wall hanging. That's my current thought. So that's a lot of fun. I love doing that. That's on Laurie Holt's 25 count fabric, Prim fabric, which is a dream to stitch on. You can go really fast on that. I love it. I also participated in 2 February stitch-alongs with the Fat Quarter Shop. The first one was called Stitches from the Heart, and I thought that was very sweet. I did it on pink Ada. I went through my cupboard and I'm like, I have some pink Ada, how perfect. So I really enjoyed this, and you know, my mind is so non-mathematical and geometric. I found this really tricky to follow along. You'd think it's quite simple. It's all diamond shapes. I kept losing my place. I kept miscount. I mean, it was just a mess. But it's really sweet, and I love it, and I will do something with this Valentine-y. I didn't have a lot of Valentine stuff, and I thought that was really cute, and I liked it on the pink, so very happy with that. And another one for the Fat Quarter Shop was the Stitches, no, that was Stitches from the Heart. It was the Stronger Together Sal, which was, I really thought that was a cool idea. They were raising money for the UNCF, the United, I guess it's UNCF, United Negro College Fund. And all the proceeds from it went to that. They have a beautiful quilt along they were doing. And I did mine on Fabric Flare. And I loved the way it looked, the colors. It is based on the North Star quilt pattern, and I love anything that's like a quilt pattern. My thought is I'm going to hang these out in my sewing area. Like quilt patterns and stuff like that. So I love doing that. I hope they raise lots of money. There's one, oh, where is it? Hang on. Where is it? It's here somewhere. Well, shoot. As my dad would say. Well, shoot. Hold please. I know where it is. I found it. I couldn't find it because it's on the same piece of cloth that I've done other things on. It was the Just My Type SAL, which was a very cute pattern, I think from It's So Emma, you know, Fat Quarter Shop again. And I thought it was darling. And I did it on 40 count dapple, which interestingly enough is the same fabric I did the Make-A-Wish Foundation Sal for the Fat Quarter Shop last year on. So I just keep, I feel like Priscilla and Chelsea, I just keep turning this piece of fabric around. It was this gorgeous piece of bluish gray, and I'm finding all kinds of uses for it. Which brings me to, I think it's Picture This Plus Dapple is what it is. It brings me to one of the things I've been working on. I might as well show you that. Well, no, I'll show it to you in a minute, but new segue is that I am going to continue with the Prim Stitch series, so when number 9 arrives, I will do that on my big banner. I'm going to be participating in 2 stitch-alongs in February with the Fat Quarter Shop. The first one is the Serendipity stitch, which is making Make-A-Wish Foundation fundraiser. So I will put all the links below this time. I say that and then I don't do it, so I'm going to be good about that. I will put the links below. Fat Quarter Shop is offering a free pattern that you can stitch along with everybody. They just would like a donation to Make-A-Wish Foundation. That's the idea. And they suggest $15, but any donation is welcome. And you get the pattern, and it comes like, so you just get one a week. It comes as a download, I guess. And you get one a week, and you do the sal with everybody. And they're doing a beautiful quilt with the new line of fabric from Corey Yoder, which is gorgeous. It's all blues and green and yellow, very pretty and springy. And I've picked my fabric, I think, for, I guess I can show you this. I've picked my fabric. I'm going to do 18 count navy Ada cloth. And this is what the pattern looks like. And I'm doing it in a mix of Weeks Dye Works and DMC, whatever I had I'm using. So that's going to be fun. And I'm excited about that. And I hope they raise a lot of money. Last year they raised so much money, it was fantastic. So I hope they do that again this year. Because what happens is Kimberly Jolly and her husband donate a certain amount, as does, I think, Moda Fabrics and somebody else. And then they also raise a lot of money for it. I'm going to do the Prim and Proper Stitch Along by Lori Holt and the Fat Quarter Shop, which is also running in the month of February. It starts February 3rd, I think, And they have it, if you go on their website, you can get the pattern, and it has it blocked off like this is week 1, this is week 2, this is week, you know, they have it all so that we can all work on it together. And I'm excited because I love this pattern. I would love to have made this quilt. I've seen, I think Stitching with the Sisterlies did it and some other people, and I just drool. I love it. I do have the pattern. I could do it if I put my mind to it at some point, but right now I'm just going to stick with the cross stitch for that one. So I'm excited to do the cross stitch because I love the quilt so much, and it'd be fun. And this is going to go in my sewing area, so I'll have like quilty things. You know, we were talking about this another time. Like, everything in my house is old and crusty, and most of the things I like are prim and those colors and that feel. But out in my sewing area, I want it Lori Holt, cute, and, you know, Bonnie and Camille fabric, and cheery, and, you know, a mix of things. Of course, I have some old and crusty things out there anyway, but I think it all goes together. It's just fun to me, fun sewing accessory sort of type stuff. Which brings me to some other finishes. Hang on. I cannot believe how disorganized I am. You know, take it or leave it. This is, you're getting a video, so I'm just flying by the seat of my pants here. The other one I finished was another Lori Holt pattern, Sew by Row. I heard Kimberly mention on Fat Quarter Shop that maybe they'd be doing something like a Lori Holt one a month, which I would love because I have a bunch of her other patterns. I have the one with her sewing machine, I have the one with the houses and things. I don't want to do them all, but as we are all squirrels, you know, I get distracted and find something else to do, but you know, that would hold me to the fire. So I finished Sew by Row, and I can't wait to put this up in my sewing area. A word of warning, everybody discovered the thimbles are not all identical. The center thimble is different, but so are the packages. Like, all these other packages have the same number in between. The ribbon that's holding the fat quarters together is 3, but on this one it's 2. There's only 2 spaces at the top where the ribbon comes. You know, pay attention to the center one of these 2. That's my word of warning. And here's mine. Let's see if I can use this again. And this was a lot of fun to stitch. Really, really fun. I know Lori Holt's doing hers over 1, which would be really cute because it would be smaller. But it's big and bright and beautiful, and I love it, so I'm happy with mine. And that one's done. Let's move some of this stuff aside. I've seen Carol has a box on the floor, and she tosses her things into it. So I've got so much stuff around me. I have Christmas that hasn't been put away because I gathered it all together. What I usually do is I gather it all and put it in baskets and little boxes, and then I carefully put it away in the Christmas boxes. But the Christmas boxes are out in the garage. And as we know, I haven't been going out to the garage, so I'm surrounded by like Christmas dishes and greenery and stuff I have yet to put away. So this week I have a lot of work to do, I think. All right, so what have I been stitching on besides that? Well, I watched Brenda and the Cereal Starter mention this, and then I watched Lori Holt's video she did with Christy, and she has the cutest idea that she does starts on special occasion days. So if it's somebody's birthday, she does a start. So I love that idea. And in February, it was President's Day, it was Lincoln's birthday, it was my cousin's birthday, and there was one other one. Maybe I just did 3. But in March, I have my mom's birthday and my sister's birthday and St. Patty's Day, you know, so I'm like, yes, I like it. So, in no particular order, I think I did have a reason for, and what was funny was that 2 of the ones that Lori Holt showed that she was going to do were ones I was going to do, so I'm like, yes. The first one I'll show you is Blueskin by Plum Street Samplers. I love this. I saw this on the sort of bluish fabric, and Paulette used 36 count Nantucket Brew. but I have that dapple I'm using, so why not? So another corner, you know, of my other previous works, I now have Blueskin started. So this is, again, it's Picture This plus Dapple, which I thought was appropriate for the Blueskin horse to be on Dapple. Sometimes it looks blue, sometimes it looks gray. It's really a pretty bluish gray, and you can see it's 40 count, and I've got the horse and part of the cherry tree and part of George started. So I'm loving this. Love, love, love. There's a kind of muted flag, and I did make a mistake on it. It's a little bit longer than it should be, but I figured who cares? I guess I was having fun sewing, and I just kept going, and like, whoops, made it a little long there. And I'm not picking it out because I went down and then skipped a row and went up and then skipped a row and went down, you know, so it would be an awful mess to pick out, so I'm leaving it. But then there's a more vibrant flag that comes that's more blues and reds. But anyway, I just love it. I think it's great. And I have enough of this fabric left on the same piece, I think, like this section here. I want to do the pink houses that came out last year at Market. I think it was a Barbara Anna design. I will have to look that up. Of course, all my extra patterns and things are out in the barn, so I haven't been looking at them. I do have a lot of stuff that's kitted up in the house, and I had some WIPS in the house. So I'm going to show you the WIPS that I had in the house, not the kitted stuff. And I was pleased because I thought I don't have as many WIPS as I thought I did, but maybe it's that some of them are out in the barn. Maybe I don't have everything inside, but I think I sort of do. I don't know, we'll see. But anyway, I'll have to insert the actual title and the pattern, but I think I could do it on here. There seems like enough fabric left. So that's my hope. If not, I do have another piece of this somewhere that I could use. Okay, next one I started, one I've wanted to do forever, was Barbara Anna, Love Never Fails. So I pulled this out and I started it, and I'm doing mine on 32 count dirty linen, which might even be what it's called for. Wish I'd got more organized. It is, that's exactly what it's called for, 32 count dirty linen. So that's what I'm doing it on, but mine seemed particularly orangey golden. And if you look on this pattern, it looks paler, and then the people are very pale. But I swear, when I was doing her face, I don't know if you can see, she's got like yellow circles around her eyes. She really looked like a zombie. And I love folk art. I love the look of folk art. That's what drew me to this. I just thought this was wonderful. But it was just too much for me. The skin color and against, I think it came out so harsh against this darker fabric that it was just too much for me. So I toned it down a tiny bit. And this is what I've got. Hold on. There we go. I gave her a slightly peachier, I tried a couple different ones and they came out too pink or too peach. This is almost the same color, but slightly different. And if you want to know what it is, I can tell you. It's a DMC. And then, of course, I started monkeying around with other stuff. And I thought there's a whole lot of beige in the middle of her dress, which, you know, I don't know, it goes with the folk art. I mean, it goes with this. It all goes very nicely. But this was much closer to this color fabric, and it just, to me, the color looked too brown beige on, I don't know. I just didn't like it in there. And I'm a blue person, so I started doing this section in blue. I don't know if I'll like it. I mean, I love the color I chose, but I don't know that it will go with the whole thing as well. I think I might do it and then do the man. When I get to the man, I might do him in the called for colors and see if I like that better, or see if I think they go together okay if they're wearing different colored clothes. Like, should they be matchy-matchy, left to right? Or should I change him and have him wear blue trousers? I'm not sure. But I just liked, it seemed like a softer contrast to me. I don't know, what do you think? So, I was going great guns because this is so easy, this fabric to stitch on for me. I just found it like sailing along, and I loved the pattern with the flowers. I was having fun with those, and then, oh, here comes the woman, and then I got to her face. I'm like, oh, and you can see I changed her eyes a little bit. I've done one, and I also changed her lip color, made it slightly pink, because her lips are supposed to be done in that same yellowy brown mustard color. So I'm monkeying around, which is never really a good thing for me because I'm not very good at it. But I don't know. I'm trying. We'll see what happens. I can always change it. But I'm also lazy, so chances are I won't change it. But we'll see. I did unpick her face and redo it. So this one I had done Where Liberty Dwells. I did this one. So this one I want to continue working on. And I have this much done. So I guess I put that aside because I was a squirrel. Started these other things, but I should get back to it because it was going fast. And this is the first one I did. And I forget what this fabric is. It's 40 count something. 40 pound. No, it's not. Is this 36? It might be 36 count fog. Picture this plus. If anybody knows, you can tell me. Is this fog? This color? It's cream colored with a sort of greenish brown blotches. I think that might be it. So I'm loving that too. Now, what's next? I realize that when I get on here and I talk to you, I rush. I go through really fast. And then sometimes I think, oh, I never said this, or I didn't tell them about that. And so I'm going to try and take a deep breath and slow down. Right, so I told you about those. Yes. Okay, I guess I am down to, what shall I do next? Well, I can show you some stuff I got. I did ask the question about haul. It was either last time or a few times ago, and everybody said they liked to see it. I think there were 2 people who said it made them feel bad sometimes because, you know, times are tough for people and not everybody can get the things they want, but we all face that, and you know, you have to just, a lot of people said that they don't have an LNS near them, and so it was really enjoyable for them to see what other people are getting, and then they contact their local shop, or, you know, they contact a shop and order, and it helps shops. And anyway, the overwhelming consent was yes, please keep showing. So I'll show you what I got, and these are because I belong to Fabric of the Month Club, and I'm not sure if they all came recently or anyway. This one is Dapple. It's the same one that I just have been showing you. Picture this plus, 40 count. So that's why I said I know I have, oops, sorry. I know I have a little bit in my stash. This is a piece of 40 count ale. This is funny because I was watching Christy, Crosshatch Quilts, and she was saying, oh, I'm doing one of the Hollyberry Farms. I think it was spring at Hollyberry Farms, and she was doing hers on ale, and I thought, oh, I have some of that, and then I couldn't find it, or I don't know what. So I saw they had it at, I think it was 123 Stitch or whatever, and I put it in my cart, and I thought, oh no, well maybe I do have that, I should wait and look. And I swear to you, I went back that afternoon, boom, gone. So if you see fabric that you like, you should get it. That's my advice. But I did have a piece, so in the end it was good. I didn't buy it twice, but you can always use it. It's always good to have stash. This is a piece of Relic, which is very interesting color. It is sort of creamy orangey. It's almost like a, with a little hint of brown, but quite a lot of orange. So that's a pretty color too. I love that. Okay, oh, these. Farm Girl did this to me. I love making socks, and I think I showed you my wool that I got last time to make socks. Well, she showed these. It's from a place called myneedlecrafts.com, and apparently they're on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, and Twitter. Look at these little cases to hold double-pointed needles. Oh my gosh, I never knew such a thing existed, but you put your double-pointed needles in there and then you snap them and they can't, you know, get lost or come out. You're knitting, like you can put it over a sock in progress even. You slip this over and then the needle part is up here and the sock part's hanging down, and I couldn't resist this little Scandinavian looking one either because I have a thing for Scandinavia. So sheep, Scandinavia, yay. All right, thus endeth the whole portion. I guess I will show you some WIPS. So I went digging in baskets. As I said, I don't have as many as I thought I did, unless they're more out in the barn. A lot of the things in some of my baskets were things I've kitted, but I haven't actually started. So that made me feel slightly better. And yeah, so this is a lot of them, if not all of them. This one I did, this was a kit from Dying to Stitch, I believe. I think now it's available as a pattern. It's Grace on Thee by Plum Street Samplers. And I finished this at StitchCon 2 years ago. Thought I was finished, so I didn't think I was going to put the words on. But I have since decided I am going to put the words on. So I do have I saved back the thread in case I wanted to do that. So I will add the God Shed His Grace on Thee at the top, I believe. I think I've decided I want to do that. So that would not take any time at all. I should just finish that up. Loved stitching that. You know, because it was a kit, I have the backing and everything to put it together. So no excuses there. Okie doke. Next one is Needleworker Sampler by Brenda Gervais with the needle and thread. Don't seem to have the cover in my bag. Oh yes, I do. I'm going to take this sticker off and then you can see it better. Sorry. It's good to have fingernails sometimes. Okay. Now it's stuck all over my hand. Alright, it's this one. Needleworker Sampler, Brenda Gervais. I am doing this on 40 count doubloon. And I have got this much done. Some of these I pulled them out and I said, these must have been mania starts because I've done so little. It's just crazy. So I've at least started it, the border. So I can count that as a WIP, so I can pick that up and keep going. It's kind of embarrassing. You think, oh, I worked on this one, then you pull it out and you've done, you know, 2 inches of stitching. You're like, well, I guess I didn't work that much on it. I do love it, so I gotta get back to that. Get in there. Go on, get. Okay. Next. Fosses Das. This one I need to get back to. When I first started doing floss tubes, I think I had told you I had been working on this when my mom was sick, and she was so interested in it. And then when she died, it just made me a little bit sad, and I put it aside, but I've got to finish it. It's Waiting for Christmas. Sarah Giermani from Italy. And this was going to be a huge pillow. That was my thought. What's going to be huge anyway? Whether it's a pillow or not, I don't know. Okay. There it is. I wonder if it appears backwards, the words, or not. So I've done a lot. It's one that's all over the place, so you have to count and count. I seem to have 3 needles sticking in there. I don't know why. Because I'm not somebody who often threads up needles and leaves them threaded to pick up the colors, but you know, I've done a lot of this. I just need to finish it. So I will try and work on that. Of course, Christmas is past now. We are looking towards spring. My friend wrote and said, okay, that's it. We've had our last snowstorm. I'm like, have you heard of a thing called March? I'm not counting my chickens just yet. Although this has been an extraordinary, we haven't had winters like this since I was a child. I will stop here right now and say, stop complaining. My heart goes out to all those people who were without power and water and had little babies they were trying to feed and keep warm, and elderly people. What a mess. So blessings to you all. I hope that you are through it now, and warmer weathers and are coming. Oh, this one, I really got stuck on this. This was a Blackbird Peace on Earth, and my strawberry color was off, and so I did some experiment. This is a perfect example of why I should not monkey around with colors, because I am not good at it and my experimentation is terrible. I need to unpick all these weird strawberries. They look like nuclear disaster strawberries. I shouldn't joke about that, but they look day glow. You know, in my head, I'm thinking, oh, some of them are overripe and some of them are underripe. And da, 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 da. Well, the problem was it called for a couple colors. Let's see, mulberry and ginger snap. And my ginger snap was particularly orange, and my mulberry was particularly burgundy. So to me, they just did not look. They didn't look right. They didn't look like strawberries. So I should have just tried to pick a different dye lot of those colors or something. Or settle on one. I have a whole bag full of different options. I should have settled on one color that I thought looked like strawberries. I mean, it's shaded. They're shaded, so there's a couple different colors within it, but it's not so daunting to me now. Like, I've frogged many a time since then, but this is when I was first... I think maybe I was doing this when I was first working on linen, and I didn't want to frog. I was afraid of frogging it. Now I'm like, I'll frog that, I'll frog it, you know. Sometimes I won't. Sometimes I'll just skip it and go, you can't see it? Who cares? Whatever. But with that one, I just am not happy with those colors, and it will always bother me when I look at it, so that's getting frogged. This one, Teresa Kogut. What's this called? Ho Ho Ho. Love him. Finished him, but on the color I chose, he didn't show up so well. Some of the smoke wafting up and things didn't show, and I don't know about the Ho Ho, whether I even wanted to have those on there, but I did put them on. So here he is. And what I did was I did some shading around the smoke. I put a little bit of darker just so it would show up against this linen. And I just didn't finish it. Like, I did one side and I didn't do the other side. So that's all that's waiting. Just a tiny little bit of back stitching. Or did I do X's? No, I did back stitching to have the smoke show up that's curling out of the chimney. So I just need to finish this side so that you can see the smoke coming up here. So you really can't see. There it is. It swirls and it comes up here. But without that back stitching that I have on this side, you wouldn't see it. So I just need to do that, and he's all done. And I love him. And I was going to put him, I have an old piece of, it's either an old cutting board or just an old piece of wood that I was going to put him on and have him stand up somewhere at Christmas time. And he's so cute. I love him. So it's crazy I haven't fixed him up. Crazy. I embrace that. I embrace crazy. Here is, I think this is the Mania start, so get ready for it to be tiny. Yep. A Gentleman's Daughter. I think I started this because I was going to do the one about an excellent library, this sort of Jane Austen-y one for my daughter to take to college, and I couldn't find it. So I thought, well, this will be a good substitute. And then I found the Jane Austen one, so I finished that one. I will tell you, I finished that one. Yes. This is as much as I've done, just some of the words. Daughter, so far. That's what it is. Just the bottom line, ER, part of daughter. I know people get bothered by the words being split. What's that called? Kerning? Kerning? Something like that. On a line, if you split a line of text, it doesn't bother me. It's kind of, seems old-fashioned or something. So I think I'll leave it as it is and carry on. Carry on. Okay. You getting bored? This is another With a Needle and Thread. What is this one? Oh. This is the Summer Schoolhouse series. And I love this. I've done more than I thought. I finished part 1. Is that in here? Let's see. I've got all the pieces cut and serged, ready to roll. I just have to do them. I must have taken the one I finished out. Anyway, I did part 1. Part 1 is finished. And then here it is, all wrinkled up. Here's part 1. Over 1. I guess this is 28 count mushroom lagana, probably. And so I did that one, and it's done over 1. I loved it. Number 2 is 2 parts. The man and the woman. And I have done this much on the woman. So I gotta get back to her. And then I gotta do him. And then I gotta move on. And do parts 3 and 4. Which look like 3 and 4. If you've been living under a rock and you've never seen these before. I don't mean to be rude, I'm kidding. Because plenty of people are new to floss tube or haven't stitched for a long time. I love getting comments from people who say, I used to stitch years ago and I'm getting back into it and it's so different and it's so exciting. I love getting those comments, so I do not mean to be rude. I was just thinking Brenda Gervais patterns are so popular that surely everyone's seen them and loves them, To see them is to love them. Shall we put it that way? All right, what's next? Oh, I know what's in here, I think. Yep. Farms of Hot Run Hollow. I was going to say farm living is the life for me. This is the configuration I'm going to do. Sideways rather than up and down with the, the livestock auction in the middle. They give you directions for doing it both ways. I think this is how I chose to do it. And I was going happily along, doing 1 a month. And then, stuff happened. So, the good news is January, February, March is done. April. And I don't know if you remember, I changed it for Grammy Jean. Jean was my mother and she loved to make apple pies, so I made it apple pies instead of apple butter. And I got to do all the little trees and flowers left in this block, and that's done. And my sister looked at this and said, why is it Hawk Run Farm? Why don't you make it Armadale Farm, which is the name of my grandparents' farm? So I do have to pick that out and make it say Armadale. But other than that, I'm not going to personalize it. I did change the color of her dress because it's supposed to be white, and that was too much white for me, so I made her dress blue, because that was also, like, blues together are my mother's favorite colors, this sort of tealy blue. So this is very much personalized for my mother. But I had fun stitching that. It is a lot of fun. It's very dense. People talk about the Hawk Run hollows. They are dense. Some of the colors are a little odd to me, but it's supposed to be folk arty, so I'm going with it. I did change these guys to make their flesh a tiny bit more peach, rather than, I remember saying the zombie apocalypse Amish barn raising. So if you see, mine are a little bit more flesh colored. So their shirts and their faces don't match anymore. But I think that's subtle. I don't think that's too much changing it. And I also wonder about the color of the chickens a little bit. Like, I would like to alter that. And this is not my favorite color, this mustardy yellow. But it all works. I think it works on this linen. I don't know what this is. But, mystery linen. I might be able to figure it out. I think it's just 36 count Edinburgh unbleached. Unbleached linen is what it is. Regular Zweigart unbleached linen. But it's a dream to stitch on. I love it. So I could catch up with that. I mean, not catch up, but I could get back to my rotation. So, you know, finish up the Grammy Jean, which is what my children called her too. I could finish up her block in April and I'd be on track for doing one a month. And that would be good, because then the Fat Quarter Shop Sal, Make-A-Wish Foundation Sal would be finished, and I'd have a little more free time for that. So that seems like a good plan. I'm making a plan as we go along. Oh boy, here is my pitiful start on these Farmhouse Christmas by Little House Needleworks. I had bought this linen, which is raw natural linen. I was going to do it on. And then I thought, ooh, I'll jazz it up a little. I'll do it on this. And I got some of this checkerboard. And that's as far as I got. I started doing the outlining of one. And I think my head started spinning. And I thought, oh no, don't want to do this right now. Too big a project on confusing linen with white thread. I'm like, oh. I don't know, it just wasn't striking my fancy, but I know I will get in the mood for that in the future. So, don't want to be disparaging. I will do it someday. I found these cute little wooden blocks to put the individual ones in, so now I'm thinking, well, maybe I don't want to do it all as one big piece. Maybe I mean, our house is small. It's an old farmhouse, which is great. I love it with its deep windowsills and stuff. But we have stone walls that you can't hang anything on. We have some interior walls that you can hang a few things on, but they're already taken. The space is taken by pictures and fractors and other things we have up. So I have to think carefully about doing something that's going to be framed or big and framed, and we'll see. Smaller is usually better for me. This one, how far did I get on this? Blackbird Fractor Plum Street samplers. In my Fractor obsession, I got this far. Just a little bit of the fence along the bottom and start of one of the flowers. And this is 36 count Lakeside Linen Maritime White. another dream fabric to stitch on. So I should get back to that. I say it with a big sigh like I'm unhappy. These are all joyous, happy hobbies, so it's not like it's a burden. These, I did a ton of these, and then for some reason ran out of, maybe Christmas was over or something and I stopped. These are the Cottage Needleworks, and I have number 6, 7, 8, and 9 still to do. Is that right? Yeah, I did number 5. So I still have to do 6, just peachy pink, 7, which is green, 8, pink, and 9, sort of purpley blue. And I was doing these, they came as a kit, so I have the sparkly fabric, which I never in a million years thought I would use, but I love it because it reminds me of a Puts house. So here's one that, here, I'll hold them up with them like this so you can see. I've got the little church, and I did use the, what's that scratchy, sparkly thread, you know. I know Priscilla refuses to work with it. She took it out, but I used it because I thought, well, if I'm going glitz, I might as well go glitz all the way. So I put it in my tree and everything. So there's another one. There's another one. These are fun to do. Oh, maybe I'm going to use the little blocks of wood for these because that was my idea. I'm remembering now because I have some actual Puts houses made of paper and fabric and stuff, and I can put those out and then arrange these into these wooden blocks and sort of stack the wooden stack the wooden block boxes with these Puts houses in them, like their little Puts houses, and stand them in amongst the actual Puts houses. That was my thought. One more. So those are fun, and I see, seeing them again is good because you're like, oh, I love those. I need to finish those. So close to finishing them, and I enjoyed stitching them. And that sparkly fabric, who knew I'd find out a hoot, So this is why it's good to go through your WIPS every so often. You put your hands on it and physically touch it, kind of like Marie Kondo, like touching each item before you say goodbye to it. But I think there is something about it, putting your hands on it and going, yeah, I want to work on this again. All right, here is my officially oldest WIP. I've shown this before. And the funny thing is, it smells musty dusty. And this I carried with me all through Scotland. I was working on this when I was living there. And back and forth. So no wonder it's a little beat up and musty. It's old. It's from May, June 1987, cross stitch and country crafts, and this is what it is. It's called Gathering Honey, and it's supposed to say, pleasant words are like honeycomb, sweetness to the soul and health to the body, from Proverbs. But at the time, I told you I was making it for my British mother-in-law, and she did not like homilies. She did not like words on things in your house, which is very British, I think. Have you seen those? I digress, but have you seen those? I think they're Geico car insurance ads, and there's a guy sort of teaching people how not to be their parents, like he's telling them not to be old, and he's making them get rid of stuff and clutter and things, and he's saying, do you really need something in your house that tells you to live, laugh, love? No, I don't think so. And he makes them throw it, and it cracks me up. And it reminds me of this because that's so my mother-in-law, and my grandmother, they did not want, if it was on a sampler, that's different because that was clearly a biblical verse. And this is also, this is Proverbs, so that should have been okay. But she looked at, I was making it for her, and she said, I would love that if you just took the words out. So therein lies the tale, because of course I worked on figuring out how to do it without the words and squish the border in. And then when I went to go back to it, I didn't remember how I had done it. And so I look at it and I'm like, I could do that. And I'm like, oh no, I have to figure it all out again. Now half of me wants to just take it apart and do it with the words, because I like the words. So I had all that done. I mean, it's just a tiny bit down here in the center left to do. I had done a lot on the border and started the border down here, the strawberries. And I believe, well, the border for sure has back stitching. And I had even done a lot of the back stitching. So I'm like, oh, I need to finish this. Am I ever going to finish this? I don't know. I could maybe figure it out. I think the problem was for shortening up the border, you had to, I think I thought I'll do all this and then I will just, what was I doing? Oh, I had to move this part up and then eliminate some of the bees, or I don't know. So it's like, oh, I think it would be so much easier just to follow the pattern and get back to the original. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that. I might just leave the borders like that, leave that as it is, and just finish the strawberry bit up a little bit, and then just do a simple border around or something. I don't know, I might go totally haywire. I don't know what to do. But I pull it out and I'm like, oh, I like that. I started the back stitching in the center part. I guess there's a whole lot more back stitching still to come. I hadn't realized. Of course there is. Of course there is. It was 1987. Of course there's back stitching to come. Not my favorite thing. I'd rather do over one than back stitching at this point. Seriously. So there. All right. This one is North Pole by the Primitive Hare. And I got in a funk on this one because the way my fabric was dyed, it made it different. Like, I think it was over here, and I wanted the North Pole sign to be pointing to the, pointing to the snowflakes or something, and people gave me suggestions and said, why don't you just flip the sign? And I'm like, that's too hard for my brain to figure out. This is how much I have done. So as you can see, it's printed fabric with the snowflakes. And so I picked one that I figured I'm not messing with, Santa's Shop, right in the middle. I'm going to do that. So that's what I started. So I should be able to figure that out. I just, sometimes I get like a little whiny, bratty baby who needs a good kick in the pants. I don't know if any of you follow Fly Lady, the woman who helps you figure out how to clean your house better, be better organized and clean your house. But she had a funny thing about, I think it was her, naming your inner brat. You know, like, I want that cookie. Even though I've eaten, 500 of them and have gained 20 pounds. I want that cookie. The little brat, you give her a name and you speak to her and you say, now, so-and-so? No, you've had plenty of cookies. There will be cookies in your future. You do not need to eat them all now. So I kind of like that idea. I have to come up with a good name for my brat. My inner brat. This is 13 Colonies by Diane Williams. Little House. And I have a very, I believe, small start on this. Yes. I start at the bottom. I start at the bottom and I have written New Hampshire. I normally think I start, I often start in the upper left corner, which is interesting because I'm right-handed. So that makes little or no sense to me. And I was watching somebody and they were talking about this. I think it was Nicole. Maybe it was Nicole, Needleworks. And she starts at the bottom and I thought, that is interesting. I thought I never did that, but lo and behold, here I obviously started at the bottom. So I'm not a creature of habit, I guess. I am a fickle creature who goes with the wind. And for some reason that day I felt like doing that, so I did it. Frederica, Carriage House Samplings. Wish I was doing this with NPIs, but I'm doing it with DMC. And this is 36 count Tycho Edinburgh linen and a pitiful little start. Let me move this thread so you can see. And here comes the bird. I think this was a mania start. I think somebody had written to me and said, you can do it with DMC, it will not be the same as with the NPIs. So I kind of wish I was doing NPIs, but them's the breaks. And my final whip I'm going to show you. Another pitiful start, I believe from Mania 1 or 2 years ago. The Wool and Flax Company by Plum Street Samplers. Sorry I haven't taken any of these out of the plastic. This one I'm doing, oh, I haven't serged the edge, naughty me. I am doing this on 36, picture this 36 count, picture this plus Ren. You know, I'll tell you a funny story. When we were little girls, my grandmother, who was of Scottish descent, would have us practice rolling our R's. Fun fact, this is as much as I've done. Let me think. I think this is the side of the house starting, so I will think this is the top, like up here. I think I started on the pink house. So, excuse me, I'm even boring myself. That's pathetic. I think I need to get back to that. I think I need to get back to all of these. Well, that's as much as I'm going to show you today of those. The rest of my goodies are in the barn, and let's see how much melting we get. I'll put in some pictures of snow and things so you can see I'm not fibbing. We really have had a lot. And every day, including yesterday, it snowed more. Yesterday we got an additional 3 or so inches. You know, a lot of times the mail hasn't been delivered, which is surprising to me because, you know, they always deliver mail. Couple things I got back that I want to show you. Oh, I tell a lie. I did buy some other stuff I could show you. I went to pick up my framed things, and while I was there, I got Anna Grader. Because I like her. So, I've broken my Stitch from Stash rule, but, you know, I am going to get a couple things, I think, from the expo, just because it'll feel like it's market. It isn't market, but it'll feel more like market. I got some things back that were framed. So the first one I'm going to show you is Brick House Sampler by Brenda Gervais. And this surprised me because I ended up choosing a gold frame, which I would never have thought I would choose. But it had a little bit of this bluey green verdigris in it here. And the piece of linen that I stitched this on was like 46 count, I think, Under the Sea. Shoot, it's gone out of my head what it was. But it had all these pinks and blues, and it kind of looked like sunset to me. And something about the golden sunset sort of basked in a golden glow. I don't know, it just, when we held the different frames up, I just loved this one. So this is what I picked for this. So that one is all finished and framed, so that's very exciting for me to have. Now, the work of finding a place on the wall for it, no kidding. Oops, sorry, I'm moving you all around. Hope you don't feel sick. Oh, I shouldn't be reaching across like this. Next one was, this is naughty. I should look up the patterns and tell you exactly what these patterns were. But these are Little House sampler houses or something. And I got a color conversion from Shepherd's Bush, and I took out all the people. So here are my little sampler houses. And it's just a very plain, it has a little of that, is it called beading or something? On the frame, but I like that. Sweet and simple. And my last one is a pattern you cannot get. It's a birds of a feather pattern. I mean, you can if you go on eBay or somewhere. This one. And it's funny because when I was stitching this, I did not like the orange. I just don't like orange. I didn't like the orange in there. And yet when I went to frame it, I pulled the orange out with a sort of orangish brown wood. I just think it works. I like it. And I changed it up and put initials, like that's my mom there. I have my two sons up here. I have myself and my husband here. I have 1896, which is the year my grandfather was born. I have L for my grandmother and my cousin. K for my sister and my aunt. And R for my mother-in-law, and S for my sister-in-law. So I did a lot of female honoring in this one. I am doing another one where I'll do my dad's side of the family, the women, the quilty women. So I thought, well, for this one I'll put them in, and for the other one I'll put them in. It makes sense in my head. I don't know that I explained it right. So that was very exciting to pick up 3 framed pieces. And last thing I'm going to show you of my things I've been doing or getting back, I picked up one of my quilts. This has been quilted by Michelle Mason, and the name of her quilting work is Country something. I either have it in here and I can tell you, or I'll have to look it up and put it in. I think I have to look it up. Country Quilt Works? No. I don't know. I will insert it here. So, stand up for this. Here it is. Ta-da! All quilted. I just have to put the binding on. It's a very plain background that has a sort of floral, white floral. But I love the quilting. The quilting on this, the pattern on this one is quite dense. I know it took her a lot of time, but it's cozy and I love it. And I got to put the binding on so that I can use it. This is one of the quilts. When my mom was sick, I've told you the story, we had these wonderful hospice nurses who would come, and they would do things for my mom, and they'd say to me, get out of the house or go away, go put your feet up, read a book, eat a bonbon, do whatever you want. And so it was warm that spring, and I would head out to the barn and sew like a fiend. And I think I made 5 quilts in 1 month or something. I mean, I was just like, it was therapeutic for me. So this is one of those. It's nice to get it finally quilted. I mean, I pieced the tops is what I did. I didn't quilt them. I have tried to machine quilt myself. I do hand quilting. I have hand quilted some quilts. I've tried to machine quilt myself, but I'm not very good at it. I'll do that on little pieces like those simple whatnots from Kim Deal that come in a kit, you know, that are about this size. I'll do those myself on my machine, or I'll hand quilt them. But something big like this, I wanted somebody else to do it. So thank you, Michelle. That's great. Very happy to have that. I do have the binding for that somewhere. I just have to I just have to find it. Now, final portion will be giveaway this time. I have 2 of these serendipity bags to give away because the people that I pulled 2 times ago never contacted me. So I pulled names again. I went back to that same video and I pulled 2 names. So the 2 winners who will be getting the bag, the zipper pull, and the needle minder that go along. This is the Serendipity Sal with Fat Quarter Schwab, are Judy Gibbons and Nan King. So Judy and Nan, if you could please email me or personal message me on Instagram, send me your address and I'll get those right out to you. But I want to get these out because the Sal starts in March, so we've only got about a week, if that. So please, Judy and Nan, Judy Gibbons and Nan King, if you could contact me. And then I pulled the Prairie Seasons pattern, and the winner for that is Deb Woodhams, Woodhams. So Deb, if you could contact me, I will send you this pattern. So now, plans. Serendipity Sal starting beginning of March. Lori Holt's Prim and Proper Sal starting in March. Working on all the things I've shown you, continuing in March. I want to work on, in particular, I want to finish up Blueskin. I want to work on Love Never Fails. And I should work on some WIPS. I do want to do some new starts, which I won't go into what they are now because I have a big basket that are of things kitted up and I just have to go in there and pick a few. And this is probably long enough now. It's almost an hour, so yeah, I think that's all for this week. Haha. I won't be seeing you till March, I can guarantee it. I will try and do at least 2 videos a month, which would be like every 2 weeks. I'll try and do that. So I think warmer weather's coming. I'll get out to the barn. I hopefully can get myself organized and get all my Christmas dishes and things put away, finally. And then I'm on to spring and a new start, and hopefully can be a little better organized. But, you know, hope springs eternal, as they say. Until then, I hope you stay well, stay warm, and get lots and lots of stitching done. And I wish you all good things. Bye.